All right, it's Thursday, May 25th. It's a pre-opening SPY report. And after yesterday's gap down red day that was starting to target some lows here, it looks like we're getting a big gap up. You can see the pre-market range is wide and skewing to the upside. It looks like we'll open near the highs of whatever range unfolds here. And then the question is, with a bias to the upside, because we're kind of a kicker pattern where you get the big down red day and then immediately the big green day, it traps all these sellers. How much more are we going to continue higher above the pre-market highs when we're kind of in a fair value gap here? You can see here between the low of that bar and the high of this bar, this is all kind of inefficient pricing to the downside, and we're just kind of filling that back in. And what's interesting, if you spread the 15-minute chart out, we kind of went up with some inefficient pricing to the upside, and we already filled that back into the downside. So normally that puts you back into a choppy area that failed the breakout, and we head towards lower targets, but we're gapping up today. So as long as we kind of get green above these whatever the pre-market range is and head higher, you can play the long side, but just know we're possibly getting in an area where selling might come in. So maybe it's just going to be a morning move, and maybe we sell off right away. If we do, we're still above the midpoint of the prior day down here. So you'll look for kind of a red to green move to test those highs and see if we can break out and head higher. But it's kind of a tricky environment with an upside bias today, given the fact that we are heading to the top of a range of just some inefficient pricing to fill in. But maybe we come all the way up. Let's just see the strength of the opening price bars and how they move. That will kind of tell the answer. And then beyond that, you really want to look around the board. Let me show you. You have a watch list in play. There's a lot of stocks gapping up, and there is a whole bunch of stocks actually gapping down as well. I mean, you got Netflix moving lower, Costco moving lower, Lilly moving lower. So it's not, you got to really kind of pick and choose the right stocks. Obviously, NVIDIA caused all this with its major move to the upside. And there are other stocks like AMD and Microsoft, Google. So it's a matter of picking the right stocks. You want to see whatever stock you pick, kind of not, if you look back on the daily chart, you want to see, look at, let's just pick one, for example, Microsoft, which obviously is gapping up big as well. That already is having a 2-up day and reaching its target up here. So, you got to be a little careful that you reached, your magnitude, how much more are you going to get out of it. But if the opening bar is green and heads higher, you can play it. Just as long as it kind of stays above whatever pre-market range is in place. Some of these stocks might sell off after, because they reach targets. Other stocks might open more. Let's say if this was a chart of another stock and it opened more up here, and then it continues higher, at least you have a target in place. So that's the type of thing to monitor as you look around the board. But there's a lot of stocks, if you watch the SPYs obviously moving up, and some of the stocks I've been tracking, Lilly is actually moving down, Netflix is moving down, Meta is opening up nicely. And let's see if here's an example where Meta hasn't reached its target yet. So hopefully you get a nice green bar out of the gates here that at least will probably go to its target. But other stocks, you're not as sure. So and NVIDIA, who knows what's going to happen here after one of the biggest move gaps up in history percentage wise. Whether they sell it off, you can kind of see liquidity down here that's building. Maybe it takes out some stops down here in the 370 area. It doesn't immediately go up. Hard to say. When you get big gaps, you never know for sure. So we'll kind of just see what happens. But in terms of the SPY, getting back to it, let me click on it. Definitely buys to the upside today, but we are filling in this fair value gap. That's all that's happening at the moment. So it's kind of, I'm always interested to see how price action kind of unfolds relative to the fact that, the bias is up, but you have an area that you're just filling in versus a target. Obviously, it's a 2-up day that you're targeting up here, but when I see this type of chart, that kind of makes me think more that we're just filling in this gap, and it is possible to fail here. But if we fail here, we're going to have to get kind of a 2-up day today that doesn't really go anywhere all that much, and then maybe a 2-down day, into Friday type of thing, if we're going to fail, because the only other way to fail today is to come below the midpoint of this bar. I wouldn't expect that, but anything's possible. I just don't think they're going to, there's too many good stocks out there that'll hold this index up today, and, likely heading higher. So we'll be biased to the upside, but let's just kind of pick either, if you're picking the index, kind of know you'll see how the more, you just judge how price action kind of unfolds to see how strong it continues. If you don't see that strength, know that maybe you're in an area here that could get a bit of a pause, and then, we'll see how things happen on Friday, if that's the case, if there's just a pause and we can't really get strong out of here. So interesting day today with a bias to the upside.